We're here to bring a new type of news show.
New insights, new styles, and new topics every day.
We are News Generation.
Bringing news just for you. It's Tuesday, May 28th here in Seoul. I'm Song Yujin, and you're watching News Generation. Joining us today is Chijiki.
Happy Tuesday.
Happy Tuesday. And Chiska Dainha.
Happy Tuesday, everyone.
Now, both are here to speak on behalf of people in their 20s and 30s. Now, as usual, we're going to start with our news feed, which covers different hashtags and news items that have been trending online over the past 24 hours. The mock test date for the Korean college entrance exam, known as Suneung, has been set for June 4th. The Korea Institute for Curriculum and Evaluation, the test administrator, announced the official date on Monday. More than 470,000 test takers have signed up for the mock exam, an increase of over 14,000 from last year. High school graduates and older students, often those retaking the test, make up 18.7% of the total, the second largest proportion since 2011, when relevant data first became available. The actual Suneung exam will take place on November 14th. Now, moving on, staying here in the country, in the travel industry, insiders are optimistic that the number of outbound travelers in Korea is on track to recover to pre-pandemic levels, that is before 2020. From January to April this year, 11.3 million people traveled abroad from Incheon International Airport, an increase of almost 47% compared to the same period last year. Month by month, the number of outbound travelers was 800,000 to 1 million higher than last year. Major travel agencies in Korea have also seen their first quarter sales more than double compared to last year. But with the peak summer holiday season yet to come, these numbers are likely to continue rising. Finally, the controversy surrounding star dog trainer Kang Hyung-wook is continuing online. 2 weeks ago, someone who claimed to have worked at Kang's dog training business accused him and his wife of workplace harassment and spying on employees on an online job search platform. In response, the couple uploaded a 55-minute video on their YouTube channel rebutting these accusations. However, others who identify as former employees have also refuted this, claiming they have recordings of Kang's verbal abuse and that they have contacted a lawyer who has agreed to provide free legal representation. Now, as a result of these accusations, public broadcaster KBS canceled the airing of its weekly program featuring Kang, and this instead is actually showing no signs of ending soon, with accusations and rebuttals going back and forth, as you can see. Initially, public opinion leaned towards the ex-worker, but after Kang's video, it seems to have shifted in his favor. But now, with this latest refutation, what are your thoughts on how the situation is unfolding in general?
You know, I'm going to be very careful here because as the part of the public, we only have very limited information as to the details of what actually transpired, right? But I do believe that similar to the Min Hee-jin and Hive case, this is sort of a classic sort of personal vengeance and contention that has been unresolved between the employee and the employer. Meaning, you know, there's a hierarchical relationship and difference in terms of the needs and the wants of the people that are involved. So in that respect, I think the parties do find, I do hope that both parties do find a happy resolution. And it seems that whatever is happening between the two must be resolved between them. And I think the public has to be very careful about making uneducated guesses and, you know, driving the public opinion to one way or another. Because as you mentioned, once the information becomes more revealed, it seems like both the media and the public is swaying from one extreme to the other. And as we have discussed multiple times here at News Generation Studio, it can be very, very dangerous to a lot of the parties that are involved.
Right, because the situation hasn't ended yet. We're still learning new information about the situation. And once again, as you mentioned, we weren't at that very spot when that situation happens. So we should definitely be careful of what kind of like comments or judgments that we make on the situation. Now, what are your thoughts, Ji?
Well, to be frank, I believe in the saying, there's no smoke without fire, or where there's smoke, there's fire. Therefore, if there are rumors, I think they should be at least partially true, because I don't think the former employees of Kang would have lied about how they were mistreated to get anything out of Kang. However, I'm also against the media and the public's witch hunt on an individual figure. And I don't think this is a matter that should be covered in depth for days and days. Since public sentiment is so easily swayed by what they see and hear online, the media should be more cautious and consider how simple words and repeated reports can really take a toll on the mental health of an individual. If the wrongdoings of Kang may have the wrongdoings that Kang may have done in the past turn out to be true, then he should apologize sincerely.
Take responsibility.
Definitely, yes. And also compensate for his actions. But until then, this practice of witch hunting should really stop.
Right. So as part of being part of the public, it would be better if we remain neutral until we get more details and see how the situation is resolved. And that was our news feed for this Tuesday. So we're now going to move on to our main discussion of the day. Now, we mentioned this actually in our news feed a few weeks ago, but May is known as festival season for universities here in Korea. So for our viewers, have you ever been to one of these campus festivals? Well, if not, let's first take a look at the screen. Campus festivals in Korea have a long history, going back 600 years. The first recorded campus festival was at Seongkyungwan University, the most prestigious educational institute during the Joseon Dynasty. On a designated day each year, the school opened its doors so students could invite their families to enjoy food and play games. The modern university festival as we know it began in the 1950s, featuring dance, campfires, and marathons. Over the decades, this has become an annual tradition for schools and students. Right, so as mentioned in the VCR, today we're going to talk about university or campus festivals here in Korea. And starting off, for those who aren't really familiar with Korea's campus festivals for our viewers abroad, Ji, could you please walk us through what these festivals are?
Sure. So many universities actually hold these festivals in May when the weather is just perfect. Yes, ideal for any sort of outdoor activities here in the country. And these events typically last for 2 to 3 days. And what's interesting is that most of these festivals are open not only to students but also to outsiders who can come and enjoy them, just like you said in the VCR. And these festivals are typically presented in various forms, such as holding mini bars or salons. These are hosted by different majors. And there are also concerts featuring famous artists and also performances and exhibitions by school clubs like the bands, the dance and art clubs as well. So during the festival season, you can really be immersed in so many different fun activities, performances, games, foods, and different kinds of beverages as well.
The list just goes on and on. It seems really, really fun and interesting. But Cheska, as we just saw in the VCR, campus festivals have been around here in the country for decades. Now, before the main event seemed to be the student-run booths that Ji mentioned, for example, that sell food and drinks and also performances by student clubs. But it seems that the focus or the highlight of these festivals is changing these days.
Absolutely. And just before we go on, I saw some of the games that they played, and I really wish I could do some of the body slamming with the tubes on. They look like so much fun. But one of the things that we would like to talk about today here that has definitely changed, or sort of has, I would say, leveled up in a different sense, is the artist lineup. As we know, I saw some of the live footages because I personally haven't been to any of them. But this year, I mean, oh my God, the lineup of the K-pop artists they came is almost like an annual A-list concert.
Right.
I mean, we're talking about like K-pop idols and idols that you haven't seen before, and they just became like the main lineup for them. And as we will discuss much further, this has definitely brought some pros, but also cons.
Right. So as we're talking about university festivals here in Korea, to give our viewers like a more closer look, I want to ask two of our panelists here in the studio, have you ever been to these campus festivals?
Oh, definitely.
Really excited.
She's like, yes,
I can't wait.
Yes, I was waiting for this question. So, of course, back in college, because I went to college here in Korea, I believe I was one of the people who enjoyed these campus festivals to the fullest.
I can tell.
Did you do one of those body slamming games?
I didn't. I wish I could have. I didn't do one of those. But I did run the mini bar on the sides of the main street of our campus with our major. And we were selling makgeolli, rice wine, and Korean pizzas like pajeon. And I also performed in front of the school as a band member as well.
Ooh.
And I also had fun experiencing what other majors had to offer as well. And very recently, over the weekend, I even went to Yonsei's Arirang Festival for the alumni, which launched just this year.
Wow, look at the VCR.
So usually, as you see in the VCR, Arirang is a concert-type festival festival that school holds every year. And they're typically just for the enrolled students, but this year it was for the alumni as well. And it features live concerts by artists and a lot of the school's cheering songs as well.
Those are all people, right?
Yes, they're all people,
They're
not
fully
dogs.
packed in that stadium.
Yes, it's very grand. And I was surprised to see how popular the alumni version was. I heard that spectators had to line up for almost 2 hours to enter the venue. Now, although it rained throughout the evening of this event, people were given raincoats, and the energy and vibe were just amazing, as you see on the screen. And famous idol bands and artists were invited, including like Mellomangsi, Jessie, Crush, IVE, ITZY, Rise, Rain, the list goes on.
It's like an annual concert.
Exactly. And there were food trucks just outside the concert venue as well, so that people can grab snacks and cocktails during the event. And for me, it was particularly special because I was able to meet my brother and many of my work friends and also peers that I haven't seen for years through this special alumni event.
Right. So not only do these campus festivals offer like concerts, like a stellar lineup of artists, they also provide a chance for people to gather and enjoy and share some good and exciting memories,
regardless of age, too.
Right, regardless of age. For example, the alumni festival that you just mentioned. Now, so Chi, I think, is enjoying campus festivals to the fullest, even though she has now graduated from university. So my question now to you is, Jessica, have you ever been to these festivals?
You know, I mean, this is the first time that I'm seeing Jihee's footage, but I'm almost terrified and amazed at the same time. I have not been to any of the Korean festivals, so I would love to share light into the international, or at least my American university experience, which is slightly different from the Korean one. We did have some amazing lineups. So for us, we had very famous, like, you know, Billboard stars like DJ Khalid singing "All I Do Is Win." And but one of the differences, we weren't as assembled or as aggressive, I guess, as a Korean audience. We were sitting in the back going like, yay! But kind of like if there's food or like drinks, we would just kind of like leave. So it wasn't as intense as the Korean one. But the other thing that is unique about our school is, much like Yonsei, our school also wears blue and is crazy about basketball. So our spring season, or like playoff season tradition, is when we win a basketball game, we burn the benches of the campus.
Literally burn the benches.
Literally set it like on a fire.
It's a tradition, huh?
It's a long time tradition.
Interesting.
So in 2015, I believe, when we won the NCAA championship, all the benches in our campus were burned, and we started like a campfire in the middle of the court. Yeah, so that's like another thing. And also, because American colleges are so big, we do it in the lawn, and it's not as packed or as orderly as we see. It's more people come in and go, and no ticketing. That's one thing too. So it's very free. Yeah.
Right. So there are like some similarities and differences between the campus festivals here in Korea and, for example, that in the States. Now, back to Korea, these festivals have kind of become, and they're being called the highlight of campus life, mainly because these concert-like performances have been drawing great attention, not just students who are enrolled at the school, but others outside as well. But as much as they become a mega event, drawing crowds in thousands, tens of thousands for some schools, controversy has actually been surrounding them for the past few years, right?
Yes, absolutely. And before we get into the controversy, I do understand why it's also getting this hyped up. I mean, before we get into it, I mean, COVID has taken a lot of the stage performances away from the artist. So being able to be back on the college scene, I think, has been a huge sort of market for the artists as well. And another thing is, one of the things that happens, especially with these college performances, is they go viral very, very quickly.
Right, through social media.
And especially young fans, the college kids know how to use the social media, right? So it's a great way for it to go viral. And sometimes when you look at the title, I noticed that it kind of is associated with the university pride.
Right.
Meaning, like, the titles are, oh, this college were able to secure this artist. You know, this college's pride is being sung by this artist.
Right.
So it almost becomes a sort of a prerequisite for some of these colleges to be able to secure this artist. But the problem here is, because it becomes so competitive now, they're spending almost 70% of the student council budget just to secure the proper lineup or like the headliners for these kind of concerts and festival. So obviously that would become a competitive in the market, and some schools who do not have the funding or the accessibility will not be able to secure these type of artists.
Right. I think that this is kind of taking a toll on both the organizers and students, because for the organizers, as you mentioned, they get these funding from their tuition fees or donations, which is falling, but the price of booking these artists is going up. And for students, they're really, not all schools have to, offer ticketing. Some are open for free, but for those schools who do ticketing, the competition really gets fierce, and if you don't get your ticket, it feels like you're missing out on something. And talking about like ticketing for some countries, for some universities, I heard that some problems have arisen for these for buying tickets because the competition is so fierce.
That's right. So to add on to what you've been saying, due to the popularity of these concert type festivals in particular, because they feature well-known artists, some schools are restricting entrance to only enrolled students or alumni, excluding outsiders. So this has resulted in tickets being sold on the black market online for inflated prices. So the entrance ticket for the alumni festival in particular was that I went to over the weekend was originally around 30,000 won, but I heard that some are being sold online for almost 10 times the original price. And I heard this was true with the enrolled students version as well. And this exclusion of outside audiences has sparked controversy, of course, as it creates a form of discrimination, contradicting the main purpose of these festivals, which is to bring people together and to have fun all together.
So that they can all have a great time, make some great memories. Now, as we're talking about university campus festivals in Korea, but we also asked our viewers what they think about these universities inviting celebrities or pop music stars to perform at their festivals. And here's what 3 of them had to say. So if you look at the comments, Tasmia says, I think it's awesome that the students can have a break from all the work they have to do for their respective departments. Leon says, many students and attendees enjoy the excitement and entertainment value that celebrities bring to university festivals. However, some people may criticize the high costs associated with hiring celebrities. Benny says, when universities invite top local artists during a festival, it would remind me that we need to support our local music. So a lot of opinions from our viewers, but now to learn more about Korea's unique campus festival culture, we're going to invite an expert to join our discussion. We'll be right back after the break. We're back. So today we're joined by Hannah Chun, Associate Professor at Ewha Women's University's Graduate School of International Studies. Welcome, Professor Chun, to the show.
Good morning, and thank you for having me.
Lovely to have you. So our first question for you is, how would you describe campus festivals in Korea these days?
Well, I think it was mentioned also by the panelists, but I think it's really nice for us to see festivals kind of back after the pandemic, and it's really a chance for students to enjoy campus life and also kind of foster a sense of pride in the university. As was also mentioned, I think the highlight for any festival these days has been kind of a university's lineup of K-pop artists and celebrities, because there's such a big draw for current students, and as mentioned before, a sense of pride for students from that university, and maybe even a source of envy for those from other universities. I think Ji-hee mentioned Akaraka before. My husband, when he was a university student, he would mention that the main event at that time for Akaraka was actually Pinkul. So very early generation K-pop idols, and so we had this from years before. And of course, I think that might also fuel the kind of friendly rivalry with other universities as well. I think going to festival these past couple of years, it also really gives students a chance to increase their own visibility and also to raise funds through their kind of stalls and booths. So I think there's a lot of anticipation for university festivals, and planning, I think, has become much more strategic.
I see. Well, have you noticed any differences then between today's campus festivals and those from the past when they used to feature Finkle? What do you think are the pros and cons?
So I think in that sense, the modern festivals tend to be, again, really climactic when it comes to, you know, the artists. And I think it really is a unique way, maybe even to relieve stress, and also for us. And the reason it's perhaps mainstream music is because I think most might know it. And so I think that adds another level of kind of unity there as well. Even for me as a faculty member, I enjoyed visiting the festival. I wasn't able to see Channabi, who performed at at our own festival, but I remember watching a lot of the reels and rewatching because they did a lot of behind the scenes, and it was just really nice to see our students, you know, singing along with the band. And I'm very biased, but our students have the best, most beautiful voices. And so I think from a unity perspective, I think it's great. But as was mentioned before, I think one challenge that we also see with festivals is primarily financial. They're meant to be a big draw, so that requires significant investment. There are also security issues as well that I think universities try to consider. We might have overextending of budgets, and I think for some universities, especially outside of Seoul, the Seoul metropolitan area, it's much more difficult to attract popular artists because it's, you know, more expensive. And so even though we see a kind of level of unity within campuses, we might actually see more disparities between universities, especially as these festivals become bigger and grander.
I mean, Professor, you mentioned it so eloquently, but just to wrap up, I mean, obviously festival is very important for student experience. What is one thing that you would like to see the Korean Campus Festival sort of take in terms of future direction?
You know, if we can end on a lighter note, I think Jessica mentioned like the body slam game.
Yeah.
And so I would love faculty to be even more involved. I think maybe even events like, you know, in the States, I remember things like throwing a pie in a professor's face or something like that.
Yes.
That would draw more unity and maybe even fundraising. But I think it's just a nice time to enjoy the festival and the beautiful weather with the entire university family.
That sounds really beautiful.
All right, Professor John, thank you so much for your wonderful answers today. We really appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Great. So ending off, my question to you, Cheska.
Yes.
Extending on the professor's answer,
Yes.
what kind of changes would you like to see in campus festivals?
Just to add on to what she said, I mean, I was actually going to talk about the American commencement speech. So in the American commencement, we invite very, very important and renowned people that is hard to see, like Oprah Winfrey, like Taylor Swift, and they come and deliver a speech. Hopefully at campus festivals, it might be really cool to be able to see these people that you never get to see in your real life. Yeah.
Very inspiring and very motivational. So hope to see that we could get to see more campus festivals becoming more inclusive and also inspiring and fun at the same time. And until then, we'll be here every day from 9:30 to 10 a.m. Korea time, bringing you more topics young people are talking about. Special thanks to Chiji.
Thank you.
And Cheska Dainha.
Which is always mine. Thank you.
And thank you everyone for watching, and we'll see you tomorrow. We are News Generation.